After 8 years of the Bush administration and what seems a lifetime of the electioneering that was going on in America, finally Barack Obama was elected as the 44th President of the United States of America. His speech may have seemed as though it was lacking some of the rah-rah that was in previous speeches, but it was though it was saying, now down to business. This is what things are going to be like. This is what I'm like as a person. He started off with the normal, we don't agree with this, and this is not the way things have been done in the past. But he then very quickly did something which I liked, and he just tried to put some of the world into context. He said, it's not that we've got less capacity than we had before. It's not as though we can't work as much as we did before. It's not like we aren't as inventive as we are before. We still have that ability there. This world has changed and we need to raise our game accordingly, which was a great start to the speech that he gave. Of course, what interested me was the leadership aspects of his speech. I think the points worth noting in his speech were the things that he said when he said, "We're ready to lead once more." I want to go through a few of the quotes with you and expand upon them. He said, because they're all worthwhile in terms of leadership, he said, his first comment was, "Our power alone cannot protect us, nor does it entitle us to do with what we please. Our power grows through prudent use." And I thought that was probably one of the very powerful statements in his whole presentation. You see, what is he saying is the power that we have, we are a great nation, we are a strong nation, but the power we have there isn't what we're really about. And just because we have it doesn't mean that we can use it as we wish. In fact, it's the prudent use of it that makes it grow and makes it more important. And as leaders, I think we need to understand this. We're in a position of power. As a leader, ostensibly, we are in a position of power with our people. How do we use that? Because you grow your leadership by prudent use of the power that you have, not by being able to inflict it as though it was some wonderful sword that you had and you could use in some way. So I thought it was a very powerful statement about getting America to look at where it is, and yes, it is powerful, but what is it going to use? How is it going to use that power going forward? And as leaders, I think it'd be useful for us sometimes just to reflect on how do we use the power we have. And if we want to grow the power, in other words, grow our influence, then we grow it by the way we go about using it. Then he said to his adversaries, he said, "We will work with you with mutual interest and mutual respect." And I thought that was a very important statement to have been made, particularly at this time for him. But it also made me reflect back on being a leader. How do we approach our adversaries? How do we approach the people we want to deal with? Dealing with them with respect, is that our approach? Or is it with aggression? Or is it with confrontation? In other words, if this gets funny, I'm going to be aggressive. If it's coming to the table with mutual respect, looking for mutual areas of working together, then it makes a completely different approach and allows the leader to be, in many cases, more effective. Then he said to his enemies, and I loved this statement, "Your people will judge you on what you can build and not on what you can destroy." And then he goes on and says, "And we will extend a hand if you're prepared to unclench your fist." Now, I really did enjoy that statement about being judged on what we build rather than we can destroy. Okay, it's very timely for the United States under the circumstances. But think back in terms of your own leadership. How do your people judge you as the leader? Through what measurement are they judging your leadership style? It's good to sit and reflect upon how people are judging us. What do they use to judge us? Because we know that it is so easy to get carried away with what we're trying to do, particularly in a time like this, in this time of downturn and of economic upheaval going on. We can get so focused on certain things that we forget by what our people judge us against. and go back to what is really important here and what should we be doing about it. And then the part about extending the hand if you're prepared to unclench the fist. I like that because he was saying this is what we stand for. Yes, we're open, we want a dialogue, we want a discussion. If you're prepared to change your stance, it's setting out parameters by which he is going to be prepared to do business with people. So there is still a clear line with where he stands, but it's also with a hand of friendship and being put out there. And then it was really good to see how, as a thread running through the whole of his presentation, he was talking about ownership and responsibility, the importance of responsibility, and taking ownership for the situation. He mentioned it right at the beginning about his leisure. You know, are you prepared to work, or is it you prepared to just have leisure? If you're prepared to contribute, or are you just prepared to take? There was threads of the same theme running through it. In fact, when he came to his values were honesty and hard work, courage and fair play, tolerance and curiosity, loyalty and patriotism. And the fact that he put honesty and hard work at the beginning of those set of values defined really that this is what's important. It's now time to be prepared to give and not just take. There's been a lot of take, as he said recently, and it's been allowed to get out of control. Now is a time to give to the community, to give to society, to help regrow what is required. So this month, what I wanted to get you to think about, it's actually pretty simple in terms of, I've not got a long list of questions like I do, but this time I'm really wanting you to consider, what would your inaugural speech be if you were sitting down with your team for the first time? Now, I know you're going to say, but I've been in charge of this team, in charge of this business for some time now, and so they're not a new team to me. And I accept that. But if the times are changing, if there is a financial crisis going out there, then the people working for you are sat there going, what does this mean? How does this affect the way we're going to do business? Is this going to mean that you're going to change as a person in the way that you lead us? Is the world going to change around me? Am I safe? There's a whole lot of questions going through your people's minds. So you could do an inaugural speech. It's an inaugural speech in terms of this is what it's going to be like over the next 18 months or 2 years. Okay, it's a dawning of a new era. It's as good as coming into a job for the first time. So what would your inaugural speech be to your people? How would you, forget the rah-rah, it's nice to do the rah-rah when it's possible, but in this case now, at this time, it's not time for rah-rah. It's a time for, let's set out what we stand for, let's show what's important to us, let's highlight the differences between the way we were and the way we behaved a year, 2 years ago, and the way we're going to have to behave going forward, and let's get that clear, succinct, firmly, fairly put over so people know where they stand. So consider what your inaugural speech is. I hope you're having a great month. I hope 2009 has kicked off to as a good start to you, and I look forward to catching up with you over the course of the year. There's some great new things that we're going to bring online over the course of the year ahead. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.